Let's talk about content for Twitter. So we're going to go through some of the content on Twitter that I think can be really effective and help you to start getting ideas about how to utilize Twitter with your content. So first off, know your target audience. This one is a really good example, and this is actually something that is promoted. So you'll notice they've got a lot of retweets, a lot of likes. You don't have to promote through Twitter, but I did want to highlight the fact that this says the smarter, simpler CRM tool you never had. It will even remind you to call mom. The reason I mention this is because playing to your audience desires, understanding what they care about, is really important. In this instance, they are talking to more millennials. They're talking to people who are trying to find a really good work-life balance, and they don't want to be just consumed by work. They want tools that help them thrive in their business, but allow them to actually live their life as well. In that instance, we'll even remind you to call mom, says, hey, great, this understands my need for balance. It seems really subtle, but when you start to think about understanding your audience really, really well, and the little things that they really care about, all of a sudden that one statement to them means you understand who I am. I'm more likely to click and learn more or retweet. So remember to play to their desires, play to what they care about, play to not just what they need in their business, but what they want and desire in their life as well. Questions. Questions are always great in any social media. It does depend on how you phrase them. Obviously, the thing that I love about here is ask the kind of questions that will make them want to know if they're right. So what are you doing to protect your marriage? Well, I could give you a whole list of things I'm doing. Well, am I doing those things to protect my marriage? Wow, what's the right answer? I would like to know the right answer. And that's what you want them to begin to ask themselves. Not the question necessarily that you ask, but no matter what answer they give, they want to know if it's the correct answer or where it lays in the spectrum of the content that in this particular Michael Hyatt is giving. So you're much more likely to get people to click on that link and then obviously you want those retweets, you want those favorites, but ultimately his goal is to get people to his website so that he can convert them to being on his list, all of the fun stuff that you want and really are on social media for. More questions. Are you emotionally strong? This is another one, obviously. Well, that's a good question. No matter what I say, I wanted the answer. But dare them not to read, because the reason I put this in here is the article is actually 16 things emotionally strong people don't do. And he adds in the question. So not just having the name of the article, even though his question almost completely just reiterates what it is, he's asking them, he's daring them really not to read it. He's daring them to say, hey, are you emotionally strong? Then if you say yes, then you want to find out if these are things that you don't do as well. And if you say no, then maybe you're doing these things and you might want to find out what they are. Either way, no matter what your answer is to that question, you want to read the article, even though it's a yes or no question. And even though he's reiterating the words in the article, that question adding in there, I can guarantee you, has added many more clicks for him going over to that article than if he would have simply put in the article itself. Cliffhangers. This is something that people don't do enough of. Don't end that sentence. Here, Melanie Duncan says, my weekend was filled with relaxation and some serious inspiration when I had the opportunity to host a barbecue for ... Now, for anybody who is following Melanie Duncan, you want to know, who does she know? Who is she having brunch with? What is this? Who is this? It ends up being, if you click on the link, Marie Forleo and Tim Ferriss and all these people who know Melanie Duncan most likely know them as well. Now all of a sudden you want to go, great, well, who are they talking to? And you start going down that rabbit hole of wanting to know more about what came out of that. But by putting the ... and not giving away the great amount of information, not just saying, I just had a great barbecue with, and then doing the name dropping here, she does the ... and helps you, guides you really to click on that link just out of sheer curiosity. The cliffhangers, just bubble up that sheer curiosity for people that they want to click. So try to find some things that you're putting out there. Go back and review your old tweets and take a look and say, wow, am I adding in too much information? Am I giving too much away? Could I create some cliffhangers there? Recommendations. She says a fantastic article on copywriting on one of my favorite blogs. So 2 things in there. One, she says fantastic, which means she loves it. And the other one is one of my favorite blogs. So she's not only saying that the article's great, she's saying I regularly read this blog, and so should you. Tell people what you like. Don't just say the name of the article all the time. Let them know that it's something that you actually prefer, that above all other things, this is something that you would go to personally, because your community wants to do what you do. Now, don't, necessarily let it go to your head, but the reason people follow you if you're an expert in certain areas is because they want to know what's worked for you. They want to know, wow, okay, well, if I'm reading this article on copywriting, you have great writing on your email marketing and in your sales pages and in your content. If you think this article was great, maybe it helped you get to where you are. I want to read that article too. So your community wants to do what you do. They want to know what you like. So tell them. Give it a little flourish for things that you personally like and would recommend. Keywords. Know what's hot in the market. So Kim Garst is actually really good. She does social media marketing. And she's good about doing the keywords and really knowing what's hot in the market. So for instance, Periscope is her newest course, and she is, it's relatively new, but she's already capitalizing on it. And she says, turn live streaming video into your next revenue stream. So she's automatically using live streaming video, or all 3 words, Periscope, revenue. And the next one is use money words. Now, this isn't always going to apply, but if you're doing things for your business and you're creating content for your business that you ultimately want to sell things, you ultimately want people to buy things, you need to use money words. And you need to use money words not only in the content you're creating for social media, you need to create it for, use revenue words for the titles that you're using, for the words that you're using on your sales page. You can try and deny it all you want, but money words are things that really what helps drive people to make that click. If I want to make more money for my business, I want a revenue stream. That means it's not just the one way that I make money. And your next revenue stream implies to me additional money, potentially passive income money. The Periscope profit machine, she's telling me I can make a profit by utilizing Periscope. How do I do that? She's going to teach me. So to me, the money, the $97 for the course, all of a sudden becomes very small when I think of the fact that I'm going to make money by learning what she's going to teach me. So think of money words. And it's not always relevant, but a lot of times when you are trying to sell, it absolutely can help get those clicks for you. Now, quote, no one ever injured their eyesight by looking on the bright side. And then she adds in just saying. Don't be afraid to simply copy quote, the quote from the image. That's okay. And especially if it's a really powerful one and someone's going to see the words maybe before the image. And then she just adds in the little hashtag, the motivation. So she's really hasn't added a whole lot. It's reiterating what the image says, but when the image is super powerful, you can do that. So don't be afraid to do that on some of what you do. Not all, but some of what you do. And really, when you think about it, it's not that you have to spend so much time figuring out how to make it different than the quote or how to, what it is that you're going to do. Just think in terms of how could you utilize this quote to help you drive people to your website or get them to click on a course that you have or get them to do a discovery call with you or go to your shop to buy your product. The idea is that you want to maximize the content you put out there. It shouldn't be something that is so difficult to figure out that if you look at it and go, wow, I've got to spend 10 minutes figuring out how I can use this quote to help my business. If it doesn't come to you pretty quickly about where the alignment comes in and the synergy comes in between the quote you're putting out and how you can talk about it to help drive business for you, then maybe it's not the right quote, or maybe it's just a motivational quote and you want to simply reiterate that quote in the content. So just keep that in mind. Quotes that sell. I thought this was really interesting because, you've got a book or you've got a product or you've got something you want to sell. I mean, books and other content and blogs are obviously the easiest, but you are able to go in and put excerpts from the book, post, or website and quote yourself. Don't be afraid to quote yourself sometimes. When you've said something really great, go and pull it out and tell people about it. Don't be afraid to create images that quote yourself. Now, don't overdo it. You obviously want to do that sort of 1 to 5, where for every one you're doing that's maybe a quote for yourself, you're doing 5 of other quotes from influencers. Or same here, if you're going in and doing 5 influencer articles of things you recommend, and then 1 for your book, or whatever it is that you're selling. But this is a really great example because it's a content that people can really quickly identify with, and then they go, oh wow, she wrote it and it's in a book, and the book is might be just as interesting. Awesome. Pull excerpts from that. Bold words. For any of you who love TED Talks, they say the surprising thing that robots can't do yet. What I love about this is it speaks to the bold words that are very commonly used, and they are used because they work. Surprising, secret, new, now, exclusive, how-to, breakthrough, top number, people. Now, people was a little bit surprising to me, but the more research that I've done, it does show that putting the word people in your titles is actually something that can really help with clickability. So the 10 types of people who do this. You've got, the next breakthrough in social media marketing. You've got the two secrets behind this kind of success. The new and improved this, or the new this. Now you're able to do to be everything you want to be. Find out how. Get exclusive access. Those kinds of things. The more those bold words that you're using, get people to click, because the surprising thing that robots can't do yet implies to me that it's not all of the things that I already know robots can't do. And that makes me go, well, what is it? Is it really that surprising? I'd like to find out. So it does help with your clickability. And ultimately, find more than one way to talk about your content. If you have a blog, if you have a post, and we're going to talk about this more in the course, but find a way to not just say one thing about it. Don't just say the title of what it is that you're doing. Find a way to maybe have the title in one post, and then have a quote in another, and then pull out a question that you have, and then maybe pull out a cliffhanger. Challenge yourself to go in, and for each thing that you're doing, as far as a product, a service, a post, a podcast, to pull out maybe 5 of great statements, and then see which ones work. And continually do that, because people are going to respond to different things. And it's a great way to not only be able to talk about your content 5 different times without seeming like you're just posting the same thing over and over again, but it also allows you to see what people are really responding to. So go out and start some of these tactics and see what works for you.